Hello and welcome to this episode of Fearless Aging. And the title of this segment is Saving Men from Themselves 20 Proven Tactics with a New Approach to Living Healthy for Men Over 50. I really like this. It's a great topic. We haven't really covered it before, so it's just going to be really interesting. And our expert guest, his name is Louis Bezich. He is the author of Crack the Code 10 Proven Secrets that Motivate Healthy Behavior and Inspire Fulfillment of Men Over 50. And his latest book, Saving Men from Themselves 20 Proven Tactics with a New Approach to Healthy Living for Men Over 50. So, Louis, thanks so much for being here.
Glad to be here, Rico. Good to meet you.
Yeah, I was just thinking before the show. It seems like there's a lot of programs and shows about all the issues that women are facing, and
Yeah.
rightly so, but not too many for men. So I really like this. It's a great topic because men are having some issues as well. so so
Yes.
that's my first question. So what got you motivated to write these books?
Well, it was my own lived experience, number one. And then, secondly, when I got into healthcare about 15 years ago, in the position I'm in now, I found out that the health of Americans compared to other industrialized countries is not quite that good.
It's not.
We spend more money than any other country in the world on healthcare, yet almost 70% of our people are either obese or overweight. Less than 5% of Americans lead a healthy lifestyle. So we're really not, meeting it when it comes to, other nations. What got me personally involved was my own lived experience. When I was back in my 30s, I became a single dad with two sons under my roof, a seventh grader and a second grader. And the bottom line was that there was a lot of pressure to take care of those kids, packing lunches, dinners, doctor's appointments, all this type of thing. And my day job, of course, didn't go away. So under a lot of pressure, I found myself seeking comfort in exercise and then ultimately a healthy diet because it made me feel good and helped me cope during those years. Subsequently, after the kids grew up and went off to college, the bottom line is that it started as a coping mechanism, became a passion. And then when I got in healthcare and I saw how bad the experiences are of other Americans, I said, it doesn't have to be this way, particularly for men over 50. There's so much to live for. And that's what got me on my pathway to men's health advocacy.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, my next question is then, so what do you actually mean by saving men from themselves?
Well, men need savings because
Yeah.
when it comes to our health, particularly men over 50, unfortunately, first of all, too many men, when they hit 50, think, well, that's it. There's no value in leading a healthy lifestyle, whatever. And I just reject that theory outright, right?
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things to live for. There's obviously our family, what I call our loving constituency, right? There's so much to live for. But men, unfortunately, we neglect our health. We become very sedentary. And unfortunately, because of that, we die younger than women and we have more chronic disease than women. My point, Rico, it doesn't have to be that way. My own experience tells me that it can be just the opposite. And if you do even the minimal to try to take care of yourself, the benefits, the rewards are magnificent. You
Yeah.
feel good, you sleep good, you may have a better sex life. I mean, there's a whole host of things. You're around longer for your children, your grandchildren. There's so much to live for and enjoy.
Yeah. That's so good. That's exactly what fearless aging is all about. So, why do you think men so often kind of resist improving their health habits? And
Well, unfortunately, it's in a lot of cases, it's a learned experience. One generation of men to another have a sense of masculinity, an inappropriate and not a true sense of masculinity. In that, if you go to the doctor, that's a sign of weakness.
Mhm.
If you go to the doctor, that's not being manly. Just suck it up. The pain will go away. Whatever. That's obviously, Rico, from my perspective, ridiculous. But that's that masculine mentality that still permeates our culture. We want to get away from that. The other, there's other excuses that men make. It's too difficult to make an appointment. The table I have to get on is cold. Crazy stuff. But that's what we got to get over is this inherited sense that taking care of ourselves is somehow not being a tough guy or masculine.
Yeah, I totally agree. Do you think also it's a little bit because still men are focused too much on thinking how important it is? They got to be successful financially, and that's the most important thing is how much money they can make and how successful they're going to be in their business.
Sure. Well, look, Rico, there's a lot of pressures that we all have on life to make a good living, to put food on the table for our families, to take care of ourselves. But you know what? In Crack the Code, you mentioned it. One of the things I start the book off saying is that, we have this paradox. Men are supposed to be providers, protectors,
Hmm.
but the thing that's most critical, most central to us fulfilling that masculine and that male role is we've got to take is something we neglect, which is our own health. If we're not healthy, we can't be a provider. We can't be a protector. And unfortunately, we won't even be around long enough perhaps to see our grandchildren and get all of those life experiences that we otherwise could. So we've got to overcome that paradox. We've got to accept the fact that, look, we're human beings. We have physical needs. We have, God forbid, mental health needs, right? Because that's another thing that, men don't want to acknowledge that, just like we need physical care, we need mental care sometimes. It's starting to change a little bit, but it's something we need to overcome.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
so
why
good.
I wrote the book to
Yeah, well,
figure that
yeah,
to
yeah.
see.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that's such a needed thing. Yeah, I think men still think that they got to do stuff themselves. They got to do it alone instead of looking
Yeah,
for help. And that's the thing we have to change too, right? We're all here to help each other. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. We all need to get help and choose help when we need it. So
right.
that's a big thing. Yeah.
And Rico, our biggest source of motivation are our relationships. All the science, the social science tells us that if we have healthy, good relationships, whether it be with a spouse, our children, friends, that can really motivate you to live healthy. So that's why I always start off by saying, build your motivational platform.
Hmm. Absolutely. One thing I always want to add too, another reason why it's so important for us to stay healthy and energetic as we age, because we need more, because we gain wisdom and knowledge as we age, right? And we
Sure.
need more people like yourself, not to stay healthy and energetic, so you can give back your knowledge and wisdom to younger people and be mentors and role models for younger people,
Yep.
and also to help solve all these monumental challenges that we're facing as humanity.
Yep, you're spot on, Rico. Intergenerational relationships to me are the key to A, motivating ourselves to stay healthy, but B, the fulfillment by giving, by relating your life experience to other generations, whether your children, grandchildren, family members, whatever. It works hand in glove. It can really be a great source of fulfillment and motivation.
Yeah. Well, let's get into a little bit about your books, and also, we'll definitely put how you can contact Lewis and how you get a copy of his books, and also he'll have a nice free a gift for you there as well. So let's talk a little bit about on your 20 evidence-based taxes. We don't have time to go through all of them, but how
Yeah.
about talk about what do you think are maybe the couple, two or three of the most impactful from men over 50?
Well, I would say this. Diet and exercise are at the center of it all, right? We can't get around that. You've got to eat healthy, and you got to live healthy. Get
Yeah.
some cardio, get some resistance training, weight training. That's at the center of it.
Mhm.
But it's not all diet and exercise. That's the key theme in the book. It's one, establishing that motivational platform. You got to have purpose and a what we call in business a value proposition, right? And we can get that through our relationships, right? That's what all the science tells us, that if we have healthy relationships, again, spouse, children, whatever, or a combination of all the above, that gives us the purpose and the rationale to want to live healthy, because we want to be around and we want to have an active lifestyle, right? In this country, we've got an enlarging or a growing lifespan, but there's a gap between our lifespan and our health span, right? Health
Yeah.
span means the number of years you live healthy enough to enjoy the benefits of a longer life. So we want to do that. So do that, building your motivational platform, again, diet and exercise, but other things like a cold rinse when you take a shower is great. It's a great source of energy at the beginning of the day or at any time of day. Getting outside and getting outdoors. All the science tells us that the health benefits are greater when you exercise outdoors. Sleep is clearly a major factor. So kind of put it all together. It's a puzzle with different pieces. yes, diet and exercise are at the center of it, but there's all sorts of other things that you can do, both in terms of your social relationships as well as the physical activities that you engage in.
Yeah, I totally agree. But wouldn't you say, but I think still the number one thing, first of all, though, is we need a mindset shift. That we are a little bit off track, as you mentioned at the very start of the show, and that we need to all to take responsibility for our health and develop our own personal wellness system, so we can be as successful as we want to be and make a bigger contribution. So isn't it? It's a major mindset shift, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, and you're spot on again, Rico. It's never too late. Too
Yeah,
many men think that they hit 50, it's all downhill. I say,
yeah,
not the case. I was going to say I call BS, but it's not
yeah.
the case. It can be the beginning of many, many years of health and happiness, enjoyment. And today, Rico, there's so much to live for. We have a lot of guys that go on to what we call encore careers. They go out to the community and volunteer. Again, children and grandchildren. It's travel, you name it. There's so much to do and so much to enjoy. But the common denominator is what? You got to be healthy enough to enjoy it.
Yeah, and living your life purposely, and one thing you mentioned about community, how community is so important. As you know, you're familiar with the blue zones, and that's one of the big thing. The people that live in the blue zones, they have a real tight community. They take care of each other. They enjoy each other's time. So we need to. We've gotten this in this such fast-paced, stressful society that people feel quite a bit separated from other people, and that's something that we really got to work on too. Is realizing that we're all here in this together, and we need to get more involved in the community. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Social media can be a great vehicle, but human interaction is at the center of it all. Again, your social relationships, all the social science tells us,
Mhm.
can really be a foundation to then adopt healthy practices. It gives you the reason to adopt and sustain healthy practices, and it gives you a vehicle. All the science tells us that if we have a partner that we can engage with, whether it be a spouse, a gym buddy, whoever, that lives that healthy lifestyle along with us, that can hold us accountable, and we can help hold them accountable. Those kinds of partnerships can go a long way to sustaining those healthy behaviors over a longer period of time.
Absolutely, well said. Okay, last question. We're just about out of time here. What would you say? What's the one thing that you hope that our audience will get, and the people who read your book? Uh, what would they walk away with? The main thing that you'd like them to understand?
Well, I would reiterate, it's never too late, like we just said, never
Hmm.
too late, no matter how sedentary you are, no matter how out of shape you are. All the literature tells us that you can make a comeback, the body is resilient, and that the possibilities are endless. And then I'll give you one other one, which is leverage your social relationships, right?
Hmm.
Without the motivation, without the inspiration, you're not going to sustain those healthy behaviors over a long period of time. You need to have that purpose, that underlying rationale. And again, your relationships, your social relationships can be a great, great motivator.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that great information, and thank you for the work that you're doing. So, as always, I like to always end all my segments with Einstein saying, "Knowledge without action is useless." So, you got to take action on what you learned today. So, thank everybody for being here, and thank you, Louis. That was great.
Thank you, Rico. Enjoyed it.